This week on Last Weekly, the weekly show about last week. New episodes every Tuesday. Almost. So first this week, I had to make a few of the Laffite landing signs. And I know I've showed different aspects over a couple weeks, so I figured I'd show something I haven't done yet, which is actually assembling them. So one thing I did different this week, or last week, was not to paint the nuts and washers black, because they usually get scratched anyway as I'm putting them on, and they're only on the back side anyway, so I don't think it matters too much. Let me know if you think that's cheating or taking the easy way out, but I'd rather have it look nice than just all scratched up. So even though I have these holes all lined up and I have the template and everything, and it should all work out right, sometimes it still doesn't align perfectly. So you gotta play around a little bit and knock yourself into the camera and try to force the bolts in the front, which I did paint black still, so at least the front looks good. Sometimes I do scratch out the front on purpose just to make it look aged, or sometimes it happens on accident and I just leave it. So either way, you won't know, but I do. And finally, just tighten everything together. I don't tighten it too much, but I also don't want it to come loose. Pretty straightforward here. So then I take the top piece and kind of, center it, figure out where I need to drill the holes for the hooks. Using a bit that's slightly smaller than the threaded hook size, I'm able to drill the hole, at least the depth of the drill bit, which I guess is probably slightly smaller than what the length of the screw is for the hook, but that's good. So when you guys go to install that hook yourself, spoiler, you have to assemble some of the sign when you get it. This hook will screw in there pretty tightly, and you can see right here I'm kind of testing it out how it goes, just to make sure I got the right size. So when you guys do this, it'll be pretty tight. And in fact, sometimes using the socket or a wrench, whatever, would help a lot on turning that. But I have a video on assembly anyway, so.
This week, we're working on getting these nameplates done. We tried to hand draw these antennae for the butterflies. They didn't come out too great, so we sanded them off and made some templates out of vinyl on a vinyl cutter, and then laid those down and just painted over them. And you'll see here in a minute, it didn't really come out that good. The paint bled under it. So I think the templates were a good idea, but just gotta find out a way to stop the paint from bleeding underneath them. Here we have my brother using an X-Acto blade to scrape off the paint that leaked underneath, and he did a good job. It came out really good. You can't even tell. And I forgot to mention, the butterflies were painted by Nikki, my wife. She was kind of worried about how they turn out, but I think they turned out really good. And one more step is we're going to make stands for them so they can stand up better, because they're made to sit on a desk.
So here is a couple necklaces that we sell. I'm actually using a different wood, plywood this time, and it has more of that grainy, lined look to it, like an actual wood grain. And for some of these signs that wouldn't really work out, but for these I think it works out perfectly. Just gives it an extra detail. And to avoid copyright, I'm just going to call this 3 circles. And, you know, you can just sit here and watch me roll this up into a little ball. And related here is another laser cut sign. Again, I've showed this before, so I'm not going to go over too much here. Watch a little bit of this, I guess, and move on to the next thing. And here we'll just sand away some of the burnt marks. Should come out pretty clean.
A couple years ago, my brother made this tiki bar sign for somebody, and now we're making one again, this time on the CNC. And we're going to carve the whole sign with a 60-degree V-bit. And we're only going to go down about 1/8 of an inch. So in easel, we can hit the simulate button, and it'll tell us exactly how long it's going to take. And it says 19 minutes. We got a 12 by 24 piece of wood clamped down, got the V-bit in the router, and we're ready to go. And you've probably seen this before, but this is called a Z-probe. This tells the machine, the CNC, where the surface of the wood is that we're carving on. Before I start carving, I always set the home position to the corner of the wood. Get out of there, fingers. And we attach the vacuum hose, which is attached to a shop vac. And the last step before we start to carve is we go down this checklist and then hit carve. So even though I am not switching the bit, it still does 2 passes. Right here you can see it's doing a rough pass. And then you can see right here it went back and it did a more detailed pass.
And now I am on to doing the Warren sign from the Annabelle Conjuring movies. And it starts with this frame. Last week, actually, we saw my brother cut out the arched pieces for this, and I already had cut out some of the side pieces. It goes together pretty easily, just a little glue and some brad nails. It's about 2-inch brad nails, I believe, or maybe 1.5 inches. But they have to be kind of long to get through that piece of wood and into the other one. Ultimately, though, it's the glue that is holding it together. The brad nails just let me handle it and do what I need to do finishing wise while the glue dries. And then, yep, and yep, accidents happen. I don't know. Sometimes the nails don't like a certain thickness of wood or whatever, grain, and they just like to pop out. And you got to cut them off and re-nail them. Push those nails down in the wood and kind of hide them. And when I say hide them, you can do a putty, or here I'm doing it with glue. It just depends. And this is the final frame, and that's all I'm gonna have for this week. Next week we'll do some more of the finishing on them. And because we were doing other things, wasn't much film this week, so I figured I'd leave you with a image of how the garage looks, the shop, if you will. And one day we should get a bigger one because we're running out of room. Well, once again, thank you for watching Last Weekly, and remember to like, subscribe, and until next time.